From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to tonight's edition of ParksCenter. My name's Ben, and joining me on tonight's show, we have Allison.
Good evening, everyone.
Ashley.
Hello.
Rob.
Greetings from the Tar Heel State.
And Tyler.
Oh, Sivako, everybody.
Oh, that was like the saddest Sivako. Oh. Speaking
okay.
of sad things, though, I think we're gonna have some opinions. So some new details have been released for the Beauty and the Beast sing-along at Epcot, which I'm still upset about the phrase "sing-along at Epcot." But moving on, there's a LeFou plot twist to this whole thing.
Dum dum dum.
I'm not okay with this. I'm really not. Like, what are you doing?
Wait, I think I can make you feel better, Ben. I read this and I thought to myself, well, there is some value in scarcity. A scarcity mindset means that people appreciate what's there. And because they're not completely eliminating Impressions de France, it might mean that there will be more people packing the audience in the showings of Impressions de France, which would communicate to Disney, do not get rid of this incredibly special film that's beautiful and well orchestrated and very comfortable and something that really everyone can enjoy. And so by making it that it's going to be alternating showings with the sing-along nonsense, we may end up preserving it for longer.
That's really a good idea. Gosh, I hope you're right.
I mean,
Ashley
that's a good idea and all, but I have a lot to say. I have so many issues. Why? Why LeFou? Because there are two schools of thought. Either they're going to, like, Lion King 1.5 it, and LeFou's going to be, like, in the background, ineptly doing things that bring Belle and Beast together. Or he intentionally did it. Either way, he is the worst best friend to Gaston that there ever possibly could be. Like, are we just going to completely ignore the fact that he's supposed to be Gaston's best friend? Like, he cheers Gaston up when Belle rejects him, is there all the long way, is in the whole attack on the castle. Like, what? Why? Like, they could have done an equally cute idea of, like, what about going back and showing, like, all the things that Mrs. Potts and Lumiere and Cogsworth did to help bring them together and set up singing the song. Like, that to me would have been a much cuter idea and made far more sense.
Do you want me to tell you why? I know why.
Why?
Because Disney said, hey, everyone, in this live-action version, he's going to be an LGBT character, and you're going to care about him more. And
But
then
they're
they
not-
didn't do anything in the movie.
Though.
And now they're, like, trying to backpedal it into the animated version so that the animated version, who is apparently not gay compared to the live-action one, they are going to make it seem like you're going to like him more if they make it seem like he helped out some way. That's
so
why they did
dumb.
it, I can guarantee you.
You know what?
It's
I'm going to say
history.
that there's actually not a conspiracy theory, and that this might be a fun story, and we should wait and see if it's a fun story. That's what I'm going to say. Also, I'm going to say that Impressions of France kind of bores me. I'm going to go ahead and say that too, because bring it, come at me. I took my family to it the last time, and I think we may have said this, because they'd never been, because I could skip it, didn't have to go. And so we went, and I was like, look, we're going to go see this so that you can, kind of experience it. And they were like, okay, we've done that. We're good. So, I mean, I know that it's a very special movie to some people, and I also know that what you enjoy about the quietness of the theater means that not everybody goes to see it. So I love that they're putting something here that may have some more appeal, that may bring a little more traffic to this area, especially with Ratatouille coming around the corner and being a big draw. So I'm looking forward to it. Sorry.
And Ratatouille coming around the corner on this show as well, coming up in summer of 2020 at this point. Love you setting me up for that one.
You're welcome.
Look at this. This is adorable. I love it. Get the people out of the way, and that would be perfect. Like, I love it.
This could be just the Paris ride.
It really
And
could,
none of
couldn't
us would
it?
know. You could have easily taken a photo and be like, "It's the one in Florida, everyone!" and check out how great it looks. The sheer size of the ride vehicle, though, I don't think people, like, if you can go back to the photo, like, I think 3 or 4 people can sit across one of those seats, and then look how big the base is in comparison. I don't think you really get a good idea of how large one of these trackless ride vehicles are, because it has to carry everyone and do like test track style starts and stops and turns and everything.
I don't suppose anybody here has actually ridden this, have they?
I think it's 2 rows.
It's 2.
Yeah.
But has anybody here ridden this in Paris?
I haven't.
No, it wasn't
No, I didn't
open
think
yet
so.
when I was there.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've not watched any ride-throughs because I knew this was coming, so I'm pretty excited to give it a try. So I've heard mixed reviews on it. I've heard it's not so great, but I mean, I'm just loving that there's a new attraction, like a new ride coming to World Showcase. That's the part that I'm excited about. And I mean, the car is cute, and I like the footage that they show in the Epcot experience of it. They use the actual footage, I think, from the Paris version to show you in the Epcot experience. And it's exciting to think that there's finally a new attraction coming to this land. Even though we got Frozen Ever After, it was an overlay. This is a brand new attraction, and I'm excited to ride it. And but again, I've not seen it, and I've not ridden it either. So
Yeah. That
looks cool.
Right, that's a really good point, Rob.
Yeah.
I think we forget how groundbreaking it is to have a ride in World Showcase, because the last time they introduced a new ride in World Showcase was 1989. I was 4 years
grief.
old. This is a huge deal. We never got our cruise down the Rhine. We never got additional pavilions as we had expected. So this is this is a pretty transformative thing.
Yeah.
Which is also why, and I don't think we're talking about this, but Mary Poppins, like I really hope that ends up being a ride, because
I forgot about that.
again, I would love to see a brand new attraction in there, and they've loosely called that an attraction. So we don't really know if it's going to be Enchanted Tales with Mary Poppins or if it's going to be the spinner that we've heard about. But I mean, just the fact that there's all this coming to Epcot finally, I mean, the World Showcase is really exciting that there's going to be more attractions there, because it was really funny. We were sitting in Epcot last week, and my daughter looked at me and said, "Why is Epcot better in every way than the rest of the parks?" And it's like, and if you but I mean, if you think about it, like the food, I mean, there's all the food is great in Epcot. There's so many good choices. The shows, the little side shows that they have, like we went back in the UK and saw the band playing back there. The meet and greets are pretty cool the way they're laid out. The infrastructure is great. I mean, I'm excited to see what Epcot in the future holds, but it is the biggest park, which means it's not like shoulder to shoulder like the Magic Kingdom is, and there's a lot of good things about it. So the Ratatouille ride will just be one extra thing that you can do while you're there.
Yeah. One extra thing that you'll be able to do very soon throughout the entirety of World Showcase is going to be DuckTales, which is taking over the old Agent P game for that series that's no longer produced. Rest in peace. But this is pretty cool too, honestly. Like I'll be honest, I have not watched as much of the newer DuckTales as I wish I had, because I've heard very good things about it. But I'm pretty excited for this. Like I'm glad to see them putting in something that is a little more modern and something that's still high quality content.
I did
you guys
not know there was
played
a new
any-
DuckTales till you just told me that, Ben.
Oh,
so that,
well.
that clears up.
What?
Is it on Disney Plus?
Yes.
It is on
It
Disney Plus.
Disney
Go look it up.
Along
Go
with
look it
the
up.
Original,
Yeah.
but it's
The
spoiled,
episodes
when
are
I
out of
heard it
order,
was
so
on
be
there.
careful.
Oh, really? They did? Oh no.
of course.
Oh, Disney Plus. You don't have that much content on there. It's not that hard to to get it right. But yeah, my
Tell that
first
to
question
Simpsons.
initially was like, why DuckTales? Are kids going to care about this? It's for people my age. And the same thing when they were doing the Kim Possible thing. I was like, do kids even know what this is now? So that,
Nope.
that clears that up. Yeah, and I remember doing the when I was a kid, the passport around the world and like the Kid Cot fun stops, those existed when I was a kid too, and I was really into that. And so this is just another thing to help kids stay engaged so that people can be just like Rob's daughter as they're growing up and think like this park is superior in every way,
Right.
which is how I've always felt. And it's and you know, as we're losing a lot of what Epcot used to be, it's nice to know that there's some preservation of what we all loved.
Yeah. Like it's always good for, in my opinion, to put something in World Showcase that actually makes people under the age of 21 want to go there. Because like there's a lot to see and a lot to do around there, and a lot of younger folks will probably just look at that and think that's for people who want to drink or go do culture things, and I don't want to do culture things and I can't drink, so why bother? I'm really
like the
glad they
things
did this.
Like sorcerers or like this, where if you've been to the park before, it adds that little extra touch of magic that there's like stuff kind of hidden or that you can like interact with and activate. Like when it's like, if anyone did like the Phineas and Ferb one, it would be like, look up at the Eiffel Tower and stand in this position and smile, and then when you do, like, it takes a picture and sends it to your device. Like there's a camera up there that's always like taking pictures of those people. I think that's really cute and fun. It's like a little geocache adventure in Epcot, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's
I
a
like
really
that all
good
the
bit.
missions were like pocket missions, that you didn't have to spend the entire day doing it. You could do a mission or two missions. I love the Kim Possible one. I think that the Perry one was a good upgrade. So this one should be pretty exciting to see. And I think like Perry, like that show was ending just as this game came out, I think. And then of course Kim Possible was already ended. So to my knowledge, this is the only one that's going to be active while the show is still active, which, I mean, I'd assume you could add some things to it at that point.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you think we're going to see a crossover? Like they're going to make this canon or something?
Could be.
Like
it would be fun,
DuckTales
but
in...
Yeah, DuckTales goes to World Showcase. Like, there you go.
it would be
That's
cute. It'd be
not a
good
bad idea.
advertising. My
Yeah.
only concern is that they're running it off the Play app.
Yeah.
It's unreliable at best. So I hope that they fix that app if they're going to try to be this, use it for something like this, because nothing will be more disappointing than trying to get the Eiffel Tower to take your picture and the app just keeps crashing.
Yep.
I like the disposable phones they gave you. That you could
Oh, that
like,
was
ditch
neat.
I
Yeah.
missed
when
those
you were
the
done.
little flip phones. Yeah,
Yeah,
they were wonderful.
I'm assuming those were not real phones. That was some kind of technology they made look like a phone.
I think they
But
were.
anyways,
Yeah. I think
Like,
they
it
were
would be
real
so much
Verizon
cheaper
phones.
to just
I remember.
retrofit an actual phone there. But anyways, moving over to the park where I think the most people are using the Play app right now more than any other park for all the stuff in Galaxy's Edge. But let's talk about Runaway Railway first. We've got an official opening March 3rd of 2020. We do have a poster that came out March 4th. March 4th. Like it's right there in front of you, Ben.
I thought you knew something we didn't, like it's really opening March
Right?
3rd.
No. So I mean, no. That's the media preview. That's the media preview. I knew it. Right. I was right the whole
There you
time. Yeah. First riders on March 3rd.
Yep. Way to go.
No, but this looks pretty cool. Like, I like the concept art. I like that we've gotten a few more details about like what's happening with like the whole enter the screen moment. Like, this is something that people have been kind of upset about all this time, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm actually looking forward to this. Is everybody else kind of on the same page here, or am I off in nowhere
I think
land?
the reason that people have been upset about it, though, is not necessarily the ride, but where they chose to put it and to take out the Great Movie Ride. I think that's why people are upset. Like, I'm not upset at all that there's one coming to California. I mean, because they're adding it to a place where there was a gift shop. But this one, that's the thing, is it's like, it's not, hey, we're just building a brand new attraction. It's you're building it on the grave of one of the best attractions, or like one of my childhood favorite attractions. And so that's why it hurts. I'm excited about the ride itself. It's just, couldn't you have put it just anywhere else? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's
Animation Courtyard.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Mickey and
makes
Minnie
no
have
sense at all.
room over there.
It would have made sense.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It would have. I'm just
Backlot
going to sit
tour.
here and I'm going to drink more eggnog.
But that's just my
Actually,
opinion.
I
need
think
the
that
tagline.
they're doing
is
a
the
good job with
tagline?
this, I think. Yeah, what is it?
Burst
It's
into a world where
burst
mouse
to a
rules
world where
apply.
mouse rules apply.
Okay. So that's bizarre. Also bizarre, I think, is that it looks a little bit like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Bedknobs and Broomsticks concept.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
And since I like saw that in my head, now I can't unsee it. Anything I see, it fits with like the under the water scene and the other scene that they had there. Just yeah, it's something out of like a 1960s like fantasy film, which makes me miss Great Movie Ride even more. But you know, they talk about other details that they're going to have in the pre-show, and I was wondering what this like, what are they calling it, 4D, 5D, you know, attraction was
It's like
going to be.
2.5.
But it seemed 2.5D.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So what is that going to mean? And I think they talk about having an explosion in the pre-show, and so it looks like they're going to add a lot of like bells and whistles to this, and I hope that they do it right and it doesn't feel kitschy or
Yeah.
or like cheap 3D tricks. And I
see
hope that
that.
it's like true to what it is. But I think you're right, Ben. I think like this is going to be a really enjoyable ride, and we're going to get stuff in here that we don't typically see.
You know, you bring up Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I don't know if you've checked out the latest episode of Deep in the Plus.
Oh
on
my
YouTube.
gosh. You
But it
monster.
just happens to have dropped today, and it is Bedknobs and Broomsticks. So you should check it out. Just saying.
Seamless.
And now you have lost all of the points that you got for that beautiful transition earlier.
Aw.
Points.
Can't blame a guy
Oh,
for plugging it.
No, I can't.
I mean, you love transitions. She set it up perfectly.
It's like
Speaking of setting things
I'm
up
honestly not
perfectly.
that upset, but I'm honestly not that upset about this one either, because like we were talking before about how Runaway Railway was taking the space of an attraction we all loved. This is not. Like this Mickey
I
Shorts
love
thing.
sounds
This-
dangerous.
Yeah, I think you might be one of only two people. You and Drew Carey, the only people
That
who
was
enjoy
exactly-
that.
Oh.
Like this,
Sorry,
this
go-
seems kind of cool. I mean, technically this was Star Wars: Path of the Jedi last. Sounds Dangerous was actually 1 or 2 incarnations ago, but I'm hoping that they do something neat with this. Like, I honestly don't think you can do anything worse with this space than what you had, but this seems good to me. Like, I don't see how this can be bad.
The
I just hope
concept
that
art
they
is a little
mixed in-
sparse.
Well, I mean, but it's a theater, though. I just hope that they mix in some of the old Mickey cartoons with the newer ones, that it's not just all new Mickey shorts. Because I think, you know, a lot of the old ones are really, really great, and I think that they could cycle through all of them, and it would be a good unofficial history of Mickey Mouse if they did a mixture of both, and that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, a theater is a
Agreed.
theater, chairs are chairs, but I think if they just do the new cartoons and try to shove those down our throats, then that would be a shame.
Well, I think you just hit the
Chairs
nail
are
on the head.
chairs. But have you seen the back of these chairs?
Eh?
They are adorable. They've got
They
the
are
little
adorable.
buttons
I will
and
give
the
you-
Mickey
yeah.
butts.
Did you say Mickey Butts?
It's a Mickey.
They're
Like,
Mickey
yes,
butts.
that's what it
They
is.
are.
That's
They're little
objectively
Mickey
the
butts.
yes.
Buttons go in the front of his pants.
Oh wait,
That's what I thought
But
too.
don't they need to be
They're Mickey
behind
butts.
for the
Don't they
suspenders?
do
It's
both?
both sides.
I'll look it up in the post show.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you bring up a good point though. I think that like trying to force new Mickey down our throats is actually kind of the point of this. I think that the whole point of this is to inoculate people against riding Runaway Railway and not enjoying the new art style. Like this exposes them to it in something that they're a little more familiar with first, so that they won't get on that ride and come off it going, "What is that? That's not Mickey."
That's my favorite voice.
Well, you know what? That's actually, I mean, that's what it's going to be. I mean, I'd hate to break Ashley's heart here, but I mean, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the new one, and they're even saying there's going to be a brand new attraction. I mean, a brand new cartoon that's exclusive to this show, which I think is cool because when you go to the Pixar shorts, that's, at Epcot, that's a great place to sit down and kill a little bit of time in the air conditioning, but it's stuff that you can watch at home. So if there's something that's exclusive, I think that's, another big selling point to this. But, to your point, Ben, I think just using the space for something, when they've got the space is perfect. And it is probably just a big commercial for a new Mickey, but sorry.
I think the whole thing's stupid. I think Disney loves using these empty theaters to shove in whatever things they already have so that they don't have to make something new, but yet they're reanimating new things for Beauty and the Beast somehow. Anyways, I'm done.
Yep, that sounds like Disney right now. Not making much sense with that stuff. Moving outside of Hollywood Studios, but not too terribly far outside of it. We have some new concept art for Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, also known as the Star Wars Hotel, which is going to be officially opening in 2021, although we don't have any more specific dates than that at this point, so I would assume the worst, that it's going to be late December. Right? Late 2021 at this point, although that's just my pure speculation. I have no insider information. This kind of a drop-off area looks shockingly short, and I think that's the point.
Yes.
There's no room here. There's no anything here. There's no space here for us to have a hotel.
Right.
What are you doing?
It's because they beam you up to the Star Cruiser, obviously.
That's Star Trek. No.
Well, I mean, if you've looked through like the like all the concept art and stuff that we have on the website, it's got a pre-show. Like, I love that it's a hotel with a pre-show that's going to, it's going to carry you up to the Star Cruiser. So I think that's kind of neat. I think that the idea of this is really cool, but I think it all comes back down to how expensive this experience is going to be and how few people will probably have the chance to do it. And, I'm excited to try it, but it's going to be a fortune, and I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to do it, but I still think it looks pretty neat. And I love the idea. I think a lot of people hate on it, but I love the idea of the transport, which is just basically a bus that you step out into this transport, which is really a darkened bus, so you can't see out of it, and it drives you over to Galaxy's Edge, and then you get out and you feel like you've transported from your spaceship down to down to the planet. So I think that Disney's going to pull out all the tricks that they have, circa like the hydrolators from the Living Seas things and the elevator in Haunted Mansion, to make you feel like you are going down to the planet's surface. So I'm excited to see what that's like, but don't know when I'll get to do it.
So buses are a little rickety at times. You can feel the jostling motion. Do you think that they're going to try and play that off in story as these are really old transport ships, or are they going to just pretend it's not there?
They'd be smarter to incorporate it. And I would hope so. I think overall, I hope that they're actually going to follow through with everything that they promised, unlike actual Galaxy's Edge. Where they scaled back a lot of what was promised, and in my opinion, under-delivered on what they promised. I hope they set the bar really high for themselves with this hotel, and I hope that some of the scale backs in Galaxy's Edge were diverted to this project instead. Because if not, they're going to have a very big problem on their hands, because it's going to be an experience that's going to be expensive, but when word gets out, no one's going to want to pay those prices.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think some of it was diverted. I think the restaurant that was planned for Galaxy's Edge is going to be on this experience, like an interactive show thing, sort of like a very high-tech Chuck E. Cheese, or a better version of Sunny Eclipse. I don't know. But I think there are some of the plans that they scrapped that they decided to put here instead. And I think part of that too was just feasibility, that, there are so many people going through Galaxy's Edge. You can't do apparently droids because people.
Yep.
But I think there are some other things that they probably scaled back, that like the walk around aliens, that'll probably happen.
Yeah.
I hope so. Although I noticed, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say when this was first announced, it was a 4-day, 3-night deal, and now it's only 2 nights. Did they cut that back too?
I thought that it was a 3 or a 2 option.
They had multiple options, but now this is reported as just a 2-day.
Yeah.
As just a 2-night. So 3-day.
I think the original
But is that
information
going to be enough time?
I think what's happened here is like they have figured out like the story and realized that the story is told best in 2 nights without like giving this like gap or having like the slow version of the story. Because like let's be honest, this is going to be a like story from start of stay to end of stay is going to be an arc over 2 days. So
sorry. I'm just laughing to myself about I just picture like the first like 2-day excursion being like so many people and like media and bloggers, and then the next one it's just like whoever can afford it is like 3 rooms worth of people. They're like, quick, we gotta save the ship, and there's just like a family of like 8 people, and that's like it. I just imagine nobody going to this. Like, I really think it could be cool, and I would love to do it. I just think it would be so funny if it fails. But
just wait for the discounts. Best. Yeah,
I wish I had the money to do it, but I think it would be very funny if just it does not exceed any expectations at all.
Let it be Star Wars Hotel : the NBA Experience, 1999.
NBA's got to stand for something in Star Wars.
Here's why I don't think that's going to be the case, is because people who I know who are not Disney fans are really excited about this. Like people who I normally would not talk to around the office about Disney are stopping me and going, hey, what's the deal with the Star Wars Hotel? And, so I think that there are other people outside of the Disney fandom who are really excited about it, as opposed to basketball, which is very niche. So I don't think we're going to see that. And I also think that I think they did their homework, and part of that was that survey, and I think the survey probably indicated that there would be, what would you rather do, a 3-night or a 2-night? So that was the first information we had about this, was the survey they passed around to people about how much would you be willing to pay, and how many nights would you stay, and would you be interested in doing it, and all that. So, again, I will try to find a way to end up going. If I have to leave my family behind, so be it. Just kidding. Joking.
We should do a ParksCenter.
Oh man!
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah. 10 years
and
from
since
now.
Allison brought it up, Allison's buying, right? Is that how it works?
All right,
sorry,
moving.
my money's all wrapped up in merch. I can't afford it.
Sorry, my money's all wrapped up in restaurants.
Moving on very briefly to our last topic for the night, which it doesn't really have a story attached to it, but it's something that I just kind of wanted to talk about for a little bit. There have been a lot of spoilers coming out for Rise of the Resistance, and we're not going to be talking about that here, but we're going to be talking about spoilers in general. Like, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter going like both directions on this of, I want to see everything about this. It does not ruin your experience. Your experience is when you actually do it the first time, and knowing like what is going to happen doesn't spoil the fact that you haven't done it yourself yet. And then the other side of this equation, where knowing what's going to happen like ruins the end of the movie. Like I don't want to know the first time what's going to happen. I want to just go and experience it and enjoy it and see for myself, like with childlike eyes, this experience that people have designed for me. And I kind of wanted everybody here to like weigh in on what they think about spoilers when it comes to attractions.
I want Rob to start because I know he's going to talk about it.
All right, I feel like Pete tonight, but I do want to love you, Pete. I want to I want to say that, like, for me, especially working here, it's been really hard to avoid spoilers. As a matter of fact, tonight I was editing the News Today video, and Tom was talking about it, and I have to go find pictures for it. And I'm looking through, going, I don't want to see too much of what's out there, because I really want to experience it with fresh eyes, like you said, Ben. I had that same problem with Star Wars Land, and so with Galaxy's Edge, it was this kind of, you have to know a certain amount of things. You have to know that the droid factory is there and how much it costs, or that the lightsabers, the Savis, and how much that's going to cost, and what experiences are there. But I want to know that as minimally as I can, so that I can go in and do it right. But I don't want any spoilers along the way. So I don't want to see the smugglers run footage, and I don't want to see, what's happening inside of Rise of the Resistance, because you only get one chance to do a ride for the first time. You really do.
Yeah.
And so, and we talked about this a little bit at Reflections, that Skyliner to me was like Disney built a ride and I didn't know they were building a ride. And so when I got on it for the first time, it was kind of cool, because I'd never thought about that there were spoilers or anything else. And so it was really neat to ride it for the first time, and then to bring my family back and have them ride it for the first time. It's a really neat thing to do something for the first time, and to do it without knowing all the secrets is a good, I think it's important, especially in Disney, where it's all about the storytelling, to know the story already before you go in. It's just like, it's like the Titanic. It's like you're waiting the entire movie for the thing to sink, because you know it's going to sink, and it kind of messes you out. So that's my thoughts.
Anybody have a counterpoint?
I'm similar, but slightly different. I think I like to know things that make me excited about what the ride experience will be, but nothing about the story. So I like to know, how many animatronics are going to be on this ride? Is this going to be screen-based, or are they going to have, like, Smellitzer? Like, those things will make me excited to experience it, but I don't want to know about how that is going to work together in the full story arc of the experience on the ride itself.
Yeah.
You know what I think that applies to is, Allison, is when you have kids, is that you want to know, like, what are you about to get your kids into as well. So, to know what the experience is, and if they have a fear of dark places, then there's going to be darkness. Yep. That could be helpful. So, that's a different set of criteria, but I definitely think that's something that people need to take into account, especially if kids are afraid of Kylo Ren and there's a big Kylo Ren or something inside.
Yeah.
Like a bigger than normal sized Kylo Ren.
Well, he's normally just on my phone screen. He's very small.
He's very tiny. I think that going in and, like, I'm certainly in the middle, where I'd like to know as much as possible, because I always spoil things for myself, and I hate it, because I want to be surprised. But, like, for something like Haunted Mansion, like, I had read up so much about it before I even went on it, like, when I wasn't 6, obviously. I read up everything about it. I listened to all the audio and the soundtracks. And then when I got there, I realized it was only, like, a short 5-minute sort of attraction. And everything that you read and look at and study, and all the music and dialogue, like the Ghost Host narration, for example, like, not all of that is in the actual final ride. Like, you don't get to hear Leota's whole thing. You only hear whatever is in there when you're in there for, like, 10 seconds. But you get to hear the whole thing on the soundtrack. And I sort of went in with a higher expectation, given all the sort of stuff I was studying. That being said, I did flip through something like Flight of Passage, and I tried not to watch the whole ride through. I wanted to be surprised by what happens. I certainly took a quick look and saw, like, the quality of it, and I'm like, okay, I really should just go and experience this. But I did ruin the pre-show and everything for myself, which I hated. I hate not knowing things, but I like being more surprised at things. So with this one, I'm going to try and hold back as much as I can, just because I do plan on actually going to a park where it will be there and be open. But I certainly want to be surprised by it.
Well, no matter what your opinion is, please just do respect other people, and that like even if you don't think spoilers are important, please respect the fact that some people do. Don't force stuff down people's throats, and please tag your spoilers if you're seeing them within a reasonable time frame. Thank you. This has been a public service announcement.
Ashley?
Nothing from Ashley?
Oh no! Yeah,
Well,
go ahead if you got one. Yeah.
Not so much. I think Allison kind of summarized my position pretty well. I like to know certain things about the attraction. I like to at least have an idea of animatronics, what's the ride style, but I don't want to know everything. I don't watch ride-through videos as a general rule of thumb. Because there is something, to Rob's point, there is something so special. Like, I will never forget the first time that I rode Flight of Passage, and I knew nothing other than you essentially sat on it like a bicycle. And that made all the difference. Like, I knew from being on the site and everything, I knew some of the jokes about the pre-show and things like that. But, I didn't spoil it and, watch an entire ride through and know exactly what I was getting into. I tried to save as much as possible. And I'm so grateful that I did, because I don't think I would have been as blown away had I done a whole ton of research and knew exactly what it was going to be. And I have a feeling, especially with a ride like Rise, it's going to be very much the same thing, where if you read too much, it won't be as special. You won't be as impressed. Whereas if you just kind of go in with maybe a general idea, you're going to be blown away.
Yeah.
If we were talking something like Primeval Whirl, spoil away. I don't care. It's a wild. It's a wild night.
Fair.
But these e-ticket attractions, you should. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that you shouldn't spoil them. I think people should get to experience them for the first time, fresh. Maybe with a kind of easy idea, but not too much detail.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go and check this stuff out for yourself, we recommend that you contact Never Grow Up Vacations, the official travel partner of WDWNT. They're an authorized Disney vacation planner whose focus is in making magic for their clients, and with over 20 years of experience booking Disney vacations, we're sure they can help you make your next trip even more magical. So head on over to wdwnt.travel to contact them about your next trip today. Thank you, folks, for joining us. Big shout out to all of our WIGS members. That's what we refer to our patrons as. It's over at patreon.com/WDWNT. For as little as $2 a month, you can help support this show and all the other stuff that we put out, as well as get access to our post show, which is coming up in just a little bit, the post show for News Tonight, and a whole host of other benefits. So if you haven't checked that out yet, patreon.com/WDWNT. All right. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a joy being here, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
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 Bye.